Ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader from YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be talking about Yokaiswap. I do think that there's going to be some big momentum moves here in the next week or so. It's been a little bit, but here we are reviewing it. We've let time go by and we kind of have a general idea of what's going on. Everything was just so new a few weeks ago, and that's one of the reasons I just haven't covered it in the last week and a half. So before we get started into all of this, check me out on Twitter at Real6Fig. This is where I'm dropping future links to Yokaiswap videos. So follow me on Twitter if you are here. You can see I have been a busy little bee today, dropping all sorts of videos. So with that said, folks, we are going to really do a TA or technical analysis on Yokaiswap at a super high level. Now, one thing I just want to go ahead and show everyone is that we are possibly seeing a bullish Gartley pattern play out, and I can just kind of recognize the general pattern of a bullish Gartley. So let's go ahead and dig in to see exactly what might be going on. We do have some other things that I do want to bring up as well, as it looks like we might be seeing some sort of symmetrical triangle squeeze. So whenever we're looking for a bullish Gartley pattern, folks, we are always trying to predict where D will end up. And rule of thumb is that we look for the 127 retracement or the 161.8, the golden ratio. So right here, if this ends up being a Gartley pattern, we may be seeing Yokaiswap fix for a correction down to the 15.5 cent level. So it's a new DEX, folks. The hype is kind of wearing off. I am vested in Yokaiswap myself, so I do plan on holding this long term, but this is what might be coming if we do not get a serious pump or some serious Elliott wave theory to the upside here. Now, before we get all anxious here, let's just go ahead and confirm whether or not we have a possible setup for a Gartley pattern. So what I'm going to do is delete that. First and foremost, we need to get our Fibonacci extensions in order, and what I'm looking for is for point C to be in between the 61.8 and the 786. This is very important. This is exactly what I like to see when I am looking for a bullish Gartley pattern. Getting a little tongue-tied here on the new set. How about that? Now let's go ahead and get rid of this extension, and we'll go up and throw a retracement on the screen. Now what we're doing is we're looking for point B to be within the same range, but we want it to not extend any further down than the 786. So let's go ahead and throw this up, and we can see that price action did come down to the 61.8. So with that said, we did not pierce through the 786. We can drop that right here, and now we'll go ahead and get rid of this. So just by the looks of this, this might be telling me that we may be seeing Yokaiswap gear up for a potential retracement here and a potential buy zone somewhere down here. Now what we need to do is go ahead and measure point B up to point A, which is right here, and let's just do that. And we can really see Yokaiswap kind of lingering down around this 9 cent level. So there might be a possibility Yokaiswap drifts down to that 9 cent level. We were kind of measuring off this top wick, so let's go ahead and just pull this down just a hair, and this won't change the other two boxes that I drew at point B and C, but we can see that a 9 or 10 cent Yokaiswap is possibly coming. So I'm not trying to freak anybody out here, but let's just dig into this a little bit closer, because we need to go ahead and throw up our little Gartley pattern here. Now I'm just going to measure from this point here for this time being, and we'll go ahead and just kind of measure some stuff down here. Now the 127, 161.8's down here, so I mean, This is about the 15-cent level. You know, what I'm looking for here is basically the 61.8 numbers to show up here or around there from X to B. And from X to D, I'm looking for about 786. So folks, we are very close. And from B to D, I'm looking for 127% or 161.8, whatever it is that we see YOK go to. Now, when I'm looking from point A to C, usually I'm looking for a 382 or a, 88.6. Numbers in here. So we're not really seeing any of that. But the rest is kind of checking out. So we're not really able to pinpoint whether or not this Gartley pattern is 100% accurate at this point in time. Just be warned that we may see it drift down to that 9, 10, or 15-cent level. Now let's get into some other things on this chart. First and foremost, I do see a trend line, several of them established. And we can see that Yokaiswap is in this very nice trend line to the upside here. And we can see that we have a nice sideways squeeze. And we've been in a sideways squeeze since about December 17th. So with that said, I'm predicting that we are going to see some massive movements within Yokaiswap very, very quickly. Now, one thing I do want to check is some Fibonacci time sequence. And this will uncover quite possibly any upcoming movements that we need to be aware of. We're going to actually use the trend-based time sequence because, oh, geez, how about that? That's not really working out in our favor there. I was going to say that might be a nice tool to use. Let's measure from this candle wick high to this candle wick low down in here. I mean, you can kind of see where this Fibonacci time sequence is really kind of predicting some nice market moves. So with that said, in hindsight, it predicted this drop off here, kind of predicted a top in this area, predicted a very nice drop off here. In addition, you can see price ran down here to this symmetrical triangle that formed and price dropped off. Now, it did predict a fairly nice reversal point here as well. We can see how all these candles were glowing red the whole way down. And then we can see the shift in momentum to green candles. So I would say that at this time, I have no problem with this Fibonacci time sequence. Maybe look for some other event around January 8th, within 4 hours of 4 a.m. Central Time. Now let's just go ahead and measure some time sequence on a much shorter time span, because I think really we're limited to a lot smaller time frames on this chart simply because TradingView does not have Yokaiswap available to the public, but they have it available to AveDex. Let's go ahead and measure from this swing high to this swing low, and we will really drill this down. Actually, I want to leave you guys with some concrete time frames that you might be able to look at Yokaiswap for some movement. So this looks good. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Well, I just get this dialed in. I want to make sure that this is perfect. And so what we have here is a time sequence, December 29th, which is tonight. And that looks like 10 p.m. Central Time. So in 5 hours from the time of this exact moment of recording, you have to figure out what that works out to with your time frame. But this may be a little head and shoulders pattern in the making, something like this. I'm not sure. We'll have to just wait and see. Right now, it's not really looking like much. I guess you could maybe argue that there is possibly a little inverse head and shoulders in there. Neckline's not really clear 100%. But furthermore, we can see that December 31st, within about an hour or two of 10 a.m. Central Time, there is another Fibonacci time sequence. So really be on the lookout for those two time frames. Set a timer on your phone to say, check yoke, baby, because 6fig said so. Not trying to steal any lines from Stone Cold. Trust me on that one. But I do think that there is a symmetrical triangle sideways squeeze. I don't think any of us will really dispute that. And I do think that as of right now, I don't see why Yokaiswap couldn't break to the upside, especially if Bitcoin does to boot. And we may see something of a Elliott wave theory move to the upside. But currently, we just need to know which way Yokaiswap is really headed once it basically trades outside of this symmetrical triangle. That is first and foremost priority number one. And I want to take a peek on the daily chart and just kind of get rid of some of this stuff. Of course, we don't have any clouds or anything like that. We don't even have a 50 moving average. But we do have RSI, and that's hanging right at 57. So this thing is really kind of poised to possibly pump or dump. We are just right in the middle. I mean, 57 is kind of on the higher buying side. But on the daily chart, we can definitely see the spinning top that happened around this top of this bullish run. And now we are seeing little tiny bitty red candles here with no wicks to the upside, which is a little bit concerning for me. But nonetheless, like I said, we won't know which way this thing's going until probably, oh man, I would say by January 1st, but January 2nd, we will have a clear understanding which way Yokaiswap is going to trade according to this symmetrical triangle and the potential for a Gartley pattern. So it is what it is, folks. There's good and bad news here. We're just going to have to take it with a grain of salt and really check on Bitcoin. So big shout out to all the Patreons, folks. I love all of you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, it's just $3 a month. It'll get your name, YouTube channel name, or business name up on this banner. Wish you guys all the best.